We need it. Like oxygen. Why we breathe it. Like water. Like a box.
Hey everyone, again, favorite time of the week, right? It's Women in Tech, Like a Boss podcast. And today's guest is Kim Eley. She runs a practice, actually, it's a publishing company called KWE Publishing. What she does is she works closely with authors to help them get their stories out, particularly in and around the idea of personal development. But she also works with children's books authors and graphics novel artists. So everybody, give a warm welcome to Kim. Hi, Kim.
Hi, Loralyn. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. You do great work and bring a lot of authors' stories forward, and we want to get some insights on how you do that. Let's dive right in. So how many years has it been since you founded KWE Publishing?
It has been 4 years altogether. Started as a side hustle and officially 3 years.
What was your big picture vision to get into this? Tell us a little bit behind KWE Publishing, how it started.
I wrote and self-published my own book, did that in 2016, and I realized how much I love helping people get their message out in the world. I so enjoyed it, and I love being able to be that conduit, that catalyst for people to be able to share their messages.
When you do your work, whose lives are you changing? Obviously the authors, but may say a little more.
I like to say I work with authors, I work with thought leaders, speakers, coach, entrepreneurs, anybody who has a big message and so they need a big platform to share it on.
Speaking of thought leadership, what do you think makes you a good leader?
Oh, thank you. I strive to listen and deliver. I'm always doing active listening so I can reassess and see where I can improve.
Well, you're doing a good job queuing up the questions here for me. And I was going to ask, in today's day and age, especially since you work in professional development as your primary genre for the authors that you feature, which soft skill do you think is most important for people today to have?
Oh gosh, yeah, definitely listening. Communication is incredibly important, but I think too many times we focus on the speaking side of it. The famous expression says, we have one mouth and two ears for a reason.
Yes, I like that. Now let's get into a question that tends to stump some of my guests. What's the hardest thing that you've ever had to do?
Oh gosh, in my business, I was an IT project manager for many years. I made it to the corner office, so to speak. I had the great salary, and then I realized it wasn't fulfilling for me. So I quit the steady paycheck, the day-to-day, knowing what to expect each day for the life of entrepreneurship, which is so exciting. I'm so glad I did, but honestly, it was the hardest thing I ever did.
I understand that, having done it myself. It's not an easy leap. It is a leap of faith and a half. That's for sure. You touched on fulfillment and exciting, but I guess the bigger question is why do you really do it? Why do you do this? Why'd you make the leap?
Because I love bringing joy to others, and when they have a hard time, they're like, I want to write a book, but I don't know where to start. And I can help them and coach them through that process and have them hold their printed book in their hand. That brings me a huge amount of joy.
Yeah, that's such a good feeling. Now, tell us a little bit about how you leverage technology at KWE Publishing.
I feel so glad that I came from an IT background, having been an IT project manager, because I'm constantly using self-publishing software, formatting software for graphic design. As an entrepreneur, I use a CRM to track my clients. And then, of course, I use a task and project management so I can keep it all straight.
Now, I think a lot of our guests, because they are generally women in tech and men in tech, that they might ask about those technologies. Do you feel that there's pretty good source of technology that's available, like open source or low cost, or are all of these high-end commercial solutions?
There's definitely a lot of lower cost solutions, which is really nice. With self-publishing, it's not terribly expensive. With project management, I've been impressed that a lot of software exists that's relatively inexpensive or in some cases free. I guess the most expensive commitment would be the software that I use for graphic design. It's funny to me, having seen the evolution of once upon a time, you would purchase the software and then you could use it as many times as you want. And now many things have moved to licensing. So you're paying a monthly fee. You don't own it, you're leasing it.
Yeah, indeed. There's been that shift. You'll never own it. You can rent it only. Yes.
Exactly.
Is running KWE Publishing the experience you expected it would be?
It is. It's a ton of work. It is so much work, but I absolutely love what I do. I get to meet fascinating people and hear their stories. I get to share their stories and help them figure out what they want to say. So yeah, it is absolutely what I expected it to be. Of course, it's going to be hard work. It is a lot of work, but it's fantastic.
Well, no doubt. I mean, just given your track record, obviously you're not someone who shies away from hard work. So yeah, no surprise there. But what about those bad days, Kim? Because we all have them. So what gives you the strength to keep going?
I love to think about the amazing authors whose lives have really changed since they became published. Worked with a couple of authors it was their lifelong dream to have their book in print. So on tough days when stuff goes sideways and things aren't going the way I want them to, I'll think back to those book launches and I'm like, wow, we did that. I impacted this person's life in a way it'll never be the same again, in a fantastic way.
Yeah, that's such a good feeling. Now, have you achieved everything that you set out to do yet? Or if not, what's next?
Oh gosh, good question. No, I want to start entering my authors into awards. And one thing I would really love to do is to work on getting a New York Times bestseller.
Oh, yeah, that would be a fantastic achievement for you. That would be wonderful for the authors you represent. What do you wish people did more of or less of?
Definitely more belief in themselves. I think sometimes we get so worried about failing that we don't even try. And I would say, get in there. Don't worry. Better to fail forwards than to not even attempt.
Well, thinking of failing and things like that, when I asked this question about if I gave you a magic wand and I said, okay, Kim, you get to change one thing from your past, would anything be different?
Oh gosh, definitely business-wise. I think I would have been an entrepreneur sooner. I wish I had gotten the bug sooner than I did, because it's just amazing to work on what I'm doing.
This next question, asking someone like you who probably reads a lot, it's probably a loaded question. Is there one book that you would recommend?
Absolutely. And this goes back to your question about what do I wish people did more of. The book I love is Finding Your Own North Star by a life coach named Martha Beck. And I recommend it to everyone. I've bought multiple copies and given it to people. It's such an inspiration.
I'm going to add that one to my list, which is becoming my TBR list is getting, well, it's already at ridiculous levels, but whatever. What else am I doing these days, right? I got time.
Right.
What do you want people to know about KWE Publishing?
Oh yeah, I'm all about three things: integrity, fun, and results. I feel all three of those are extremely important. Integrity goes into everything I do. If it's not fun, why do it? And results, I love being able to make it happen for my amazing clients.
Cheers to that. Now, what about sharing your best tip for the next generation of women in tech?
I learned in Martha Beck's, I took her life coaching course, and one of the things they taught was to be TAO, and that is transparent, authentic, open. A quick example is, if you goof up and make a mistake, admit it.
Oh, cheers to that, right? In this era of fake news and all that nonsense. Oh my goodness. Little transparency goes a long way. How can our audience help you, Kim? Is there anything we can do?
Share my information if you want. If you or a friend have always wanted to write your book, or if you want to, I call a book a business card on steroids. If you want something that will bring you credibility and awesome marketing, reach out to me or share my info with a friend.
And can you give us that info, Kim? How do we reach you?
Oh, absolutely. So my website is KWE Publishing, which is KWEPUB.com.
Got it. Last question here as we wrap things up. If your shoe style represented your personality, would you be a boots, stilettos, sneakers, flats, or flip-flops kind of gal?
Love this question. I would be a pair of super cute boots. I would be flat boots because I'm practical, but I would be super cute where people would be like, hey, where'd you get those boots?
Fantastic. I'm a boots gal too. I knew that's why we'd get along. There you go. Right. All right, Kim. So thank you so much for spending some time today. And we'll get folks directed over to KWE Publishing. If they have a book that they just have always wanted to get out, you could certainly help them with it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Loralyn. This has been a blast.
I'm so glad because it's all about fun, right? That's what you said.
Yes. Yes.
Thanks, Kim.
Thank you.
And how about that fantastic intro by Touch Circle?